And now, I know that some of you might be really curious about our guest speaker, and more about this you will learn from Zrnica.
Thank you, Vihra. So it's time to reveal the mystery. But before I do it, how many of you actually found out? Okay, good. Are you sure? Okay, good. So our mystery guest today comes from a corporation, not from a cooperative, not yet, maybe. He says the biggest inspiration for him is to actually make a difference in people's lives every day. So I would like to present to you Sudan Jackson, who calls himself also the People Dude. Sudan.
Thank you.
Did you actually guess right? Yeah? Good for you.
So, thank you. Okay, I see my mic is on. You can hear me. Now, we've been here all day, and I think one of the first things I would like to do is to help all of us with a very short brain exercise. What's a brain exercise, you say? It's very simple. It works with your hands. Now, I want each of you to turn to your left. Turn to your left, use your two hands, and massage the shoulders of the person in front of you. Okay. How does that feel? It looks wonderful from here, by the way. Okay, now, I guess you probably know what comes next, right? Turn to your right. And now massage the person in front of you. Okay, so how are those brain juices working now? Feeling good now? Okay, thank you very much. Now, the reason we did this, it has something to do with my presentation. And one thing that I've found when working with people is that it's so important, first of all, to know that the people you work with also have a similar mindset, but it's also important to know that the people you work with, they have your back. So, okay, so right now no one had my back, but that's fine. I'm sure I'll get lots of massages and free hugs later on. So we can't seem to get this thing here to work, and I really hope we can, because I brought some really wonderful pictures with me for you. Some things that I drew myself. No? In the absolute worst case, we'll just look at the PDF version that I sent you. Okay, so while she's doing that, I'll just introduce myself. Hi, I'm Sudan. And yes, as a matter of fact, I call myself the People Dude. And the reason I do so is because people asked me when I started my current job, they said, well, what are you exactly here for? We don't have huge management structures, and we don't have, like this junior, senior, and vice president, and so on and so forth. But what we do have is a bunch of people doing jobs very autonomous, very motivated, and very collaborative. And in order to get those people to work the right way, and in order to have a system in place that's good for them and helps them to grow and to create, well, they need someone, with a little bit of a plan, someone who knows how to manage the system in which they work. So my title was People Manager, and I always said, wait a minute, who here has heard of Jürgen Appelo? Yeah? Oh, yeah. He's into this whole thing about empowering people and so on, and he had this one thing called manage the system and not the people. And that is exactly what I did in my job as a people manager. I managed the people system, but not the people themselves. Okay, so I guess we'll probably switch to the PDF version. Okay, that's unfortunate. I put all these wonderful animations and everything in here, but maybe you can look at that version of it online. I'll close this. Oh, and I need the clicker, if it's even possible that way. Okay. So, sorry about this technical thing here, but here we go. Okay. So, the reason I brought this with you today is because a lot of these conferences have the main question at heart: how can we work together in a way which is collaborative and allows people freedom to do what they do best? But also, one of the largest or the biggest questions that we have in this context is, how do we manage to have this type of collaborative and free environment without chaos and people just doing what they want and having a free-for-all? Hey, this works. This is amazing. Technology, right? So a little bit about myself. My current role where I work is culture ambassador. I mean, that's not my exact title, but that's what my boss likes to call me. I'm a culture ambassador because I help develop new location strategies. If we want to expand, we have to ask the question of what worked in a small environment and how can we expand that. For example, we're now here in Sofia, Bulgaria, and we're expanding not our operations, but we're expanding the people and the teams that we have to do the work. So collaboration and so on I spoke of before. And cultures. I mean, culture is a big, big question, and I'll come to that later, what that means. And I'm there to be a catalyst. So that means our group, and I'll speak about that now very quickly. Rewe, the company I work for, is one of the largest supermarket retail chains in Europe. And as a matter of fact, we are the second largest travel company in Europe, in all of Europe. And odds are that if you've flown on vacation somewhere in the last year or two or whatever, you've probably had something to do with us. And how many of us here, Bulgarians please, yeah? How many of us here go shopping at least once a week? Okay, what's your favorite supermarket? That's what I thought. Billa belongs to this Rewe group of companies. And so one of the innovations that we're trying to go for at this company is to say, how can we go from regular food retail supermarkets to a world where we're very collaborative, not just with ourselves, but with our clients? We find out what does the customer need? Where are they? How can we meet them there? How can we offer them, for example, services where they can get suggestions, maybe they have some special health needs or whatever, and they get the right suggestions, they make a click, and by the time they arrive at their favorite supermarket, it's already packaged for them and they just pick it up and go. So these are the type of innovations that we're working on. And I'd love to go into all of them, but you know, I don't want you guys to fall asleep. So, here we go. So, in order for the company to work the way it does, and I had this wonderful video for you, which we won't be able to see now, but you'll just have to believe me. Just take my word for it. It's a really cool company. And the thing about this is a very, very real scene from a day at work. You know, we sit around on beanbags. We feel like we're like that Silicon Valley type of company. Everybody's easygoing. Even the CEO of the company runs around in a t-shirt and jeans. You know, and he sits in an open space pretty much like this room here, just like everybody else. And what we've discovered is that taking away the titles, taking away the importance of, yes, I'm a CFO or I'm a, you know, taking away the importance of those things has helped us to focus more on what it is we actually do and why we do it. And if we want to be an open and free type of company, we always have to realize, wow, if we don't have rules and if we don't have structures in place, then we're just a bunch of people doing something somehow. But then that's not the reason why we're doing stuff together, right? I mean, if we're going to be working together, there must be a reason. And I think one of the most important reasons is together we're better. Now, everyone's heard the word innovation, and we hear it constantly. So how many of you have an innovation lab in your company? Just one? Well, how many of you have a research and development department? That should be everybody. Bulgaria is the research and development department. I was going to say, of what? But okay. Yeah, and you know, the thing about innovation is one person has an idea, he shares that with another person, and then they share it with another person, and the next one has an even better idea of how to build on that. And then in the end, you have the innovation. Innovation is not, let's put a couple of people in a lab somewhere and give them a research and development budget and see what they come up with. That's not innovation. Anyway, so I'm getting a little bit off track. Has anyone here ever been to Amsterdam? Oh yeah, great city. And they have the best apple pie in the world. Yeah. You're absolutely right. Check that out. And this is even coming from me. I'm American, right? And Americans are supposed to say, no, wait a minute, you know. But anyway, that's another topic. What they discovered in Amsterdam is at one of the busiest intersections that they have. It's called Alexanderplein. This intersection has tram tracks that cross each other. They have cars. They have, you know, bicycles, people in, I was going to say people in baby carriages, people pushing baby carriages, and, you know, just everything you can imagine. And it was one of the worst traffic disasters that they ever had. So they decided, let's just turn off the lights. We'll turn off the street lights at Alexanderplein, the busiest intersection, as an experiment. And guess what? This is now the smoothest moving intersection. There are no accidents. Everything's fine. And there's one reason for that. And the reason is that people will self-organize if you just leave them alone. And you don't have to give people orders, but people will find things that are common understanding, that are rules, and so on and so forth. Or they'll just use, like I said, the rules of common sense. People give each other eye signals and hand signals. And also, of course, we have the rules that govern the way we drive cars. So people will use these things, and you don't have to tell them how. And this experiment went so well that the lights are off at Alexanderplein forever. Can you imagine that? So what we said at Rewe is, well, if we're going to be self-organized and we're going to give people the opportunity to be a bit free in what they do, then we have to understand what people's sense of purpose is. And this is a topic that was just mentioned, also by that wonderful lady here from Czech Republic. Sense of purpose has absolutely nothing to do with the money that you earn. This is something that we've learned. So as you see here, one of the reasons we go to work is to pay our bills. That's just one of them. Sometimes we want to support a lifestyle. If you're a software developer, you know, it's your thing. You want to realize a dream. These are reasons why we go to work. So wouldn't it be amazing, so to speak, if when we went to work, the things that we did there somehow had something to do with our sense of purpose? My sense of purpose is to help people. And honestly, I swear, my only goal in my job is to ask or to understand from people what they need to help them be better. And I don't do anything that doesn't help that goal, or at least I try not to. So that's my main purpose. I just help people, and by the way, freaking love my job. It's cool. So, how do we go about finding these? This sense of purpose? Oh, and by the way, all of this stuff, none of this is theory. This is exactly what we do. This is real. So we ask people, what is it that drives you? And so we came up with these four things that we believe drive people and drive success of people and success of teams. One of them is expanding skills. People are there because they want to be better at what they do or want to get better and better and better. So give them an opportunity to do that. There are many people out there, and it doesn't have to just be software developers. They would like to be pioneers. They'd like to be a part of whatever this new digital transformation and revolution is. So give them an opportunity to do that. One thing I've learned for myself is that when I share with others, I learn more, right? So that's why we're here. That's why I come to things like this. This is why we succeed when we are able to share, learn and share. And then, of course, yes, we have, we don't have all the hierarchies and so on, and everyone says, yeah, but who's in the driver's seat? Well, yeah, there are people in the driver's seat. I mean, let's not be, we're not trying to be too, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Yeah, just too hippie and way out about things. Of course, we're running a business. So we looked at the evolution of work. And, it went from total control. There was a time where people worked in factories, or everything went from different types of work, working in the fields, to working in factories. And then I guess we all discovered, or whoever it was, Taylor, the guy who wrote the book on it, he discovered, well, we got all these people working in factories, and we have machines and so on, but how do we get the work that they do organized in the right way, and how do we understand how to constantly improve on it so that they have less things to turn and to switch and to move? And at some point, we stepped away from just factory work, and a lot of us here, I believe most of us here, sitting here now, work at our desks. I work on a couch sometimes, but most of us work at a desk. And the question arose, how can we help people to be able to do their work better? So the idea of people empowerment comes into play. Then some wonderful minds said, hey, let's be agile, and took the agile software development to a next level. And by the way, agility, I don't like the word very much these days. We've been talking about or living agility since we've been on the planet. So please, when you go home or when you go back to work and the next person says, hey, let's be more agile, just tell them to look it up in the dictionary. So, yeah, because some people actually really think, it's like, we want to be more agile, like, what can I rip this off and pour it on top? And no, you can't. So servant leadership is another thing. Bernhard spoke today about sociocracy and holacracy and these types of things. So we're moving more into an area where people are self-organizing and where teams are more autonomous in what they do. But the question is, why do we have these different models, but what is the one thing that holds them together? And this is something that I think a lot of people have misunderstood, especially in a company like ours, as free and cool and so on as we are. A lot of people actually believe being free means I can do what I want and I don't need someone looking over my shoulder. The most dirty word that we have is command and control. People hate that word, but here's the thing. All of these models, everything you see here, from Taylorism through to sociocracy, they all have one thing in common, and that is they rely on structure. They rely on structure, rules, and data. Otherwise, the work doesn't work. So, who was it again who said maybe Google is getting boring to quote? Yeah, maybe they are. But I still want to quote one thing here from Laszlo Buck, who is the head of people operations worldwide for Google. And I asked myself also, why are we always so preoccupied with this question of self-organization? And one of the reasons why we're so preoccupied with it, well, it's up here on the board. Laszlo did a survey, and he found that in all of the companies, be it a small shoe manufacturing company, all the way up to giant companies like Boeing that build airplanes and airplane parts, He found that where freedom is up and where freedom is up, productivity goes up, wages are better, the company does better, and the costs go down. And this is not just propaganda. This is real. This is actually real. And so now we've seen all these light bulbs. Who was it before? I think it was you with all those light bulbs. Exactly. They were beautiful. But you know what? my daughter, when I drew this, I drew all these pictures, by the way. When she saw this, she goes, "Daddy, what are you drawing there?" And I said, "Well, isn't it obvious? They're bad ideas." And these bad ideas are something that, they're impediments. They kind of hold us back. When we say we want to be free and we want to be agile and we want to be self-organized, then, a lot of people come up with these bad ideas and say, well, if that's the case, then I don't want any decision makers in our company. Totally wrong. Management is horrible. Why should we have management? I mean, we have people who actually say, every time you come up with a guideline or a process or something that I have to stick to, I have to adhere to, every time you do that, we have people who say, well, you're taking away my freedom. I'm not so sure about that. It's just a misconception that in order to be free, no one can tell you what to do. That's a misconception, and we need to be very, very careful with the question of how we treat these things. So that means rules and regulations and, just like I said, things to abide by. They don't mean that your freedom is now, less. I'll give you like the world's best example. If I drive down the street here, if I want to be free, and if I just feel like it, I just want to drive on the other side of the road, is the government here killing my freedom because I can't just drive on any side I want? Right? Now, we can offer people freedom as long as their freedom does not impose on the freedom of others. Am I right? So, what does work? This is what we decided works for us. And now all of you can decide if it's something that you think might be good. I don't have all the answers. I always like to say, sorry, I don't have the magic formula. And by the way, none of you do either. But we might have some examples that work in our case. And hey, yes, let's use those. And when I was listening to Bernard, I thought that was a great thing that he said, hey, we've got all this stuff in our toolbox, but don't take it from us and don't just empty the toolbox and hope it's going to help you. Use the things that help you. And that's exactly what we did. So we borrowed from lots of different practices and ideas. So now one of them is, the first thing is create the right type of environment. The environment that we have is very, very free. So we have like this type of structure here. We don't have like the regular hierarchy model. We have people who have different radius of how much they can do or what they can reach. Yeah? So what we do is we let people sit together, as you see up there. They collaborate, and we use different types of tools. Yes, we use some of the principles and practices of some agile models like Scrum and Kanban and things like that. But that doesn't mean we are a 100% agile organization. We just give people freedom to use those things as it helps them. And one of the most important constructs we have is that the team usually consists of 6 to 8 people. They have a team coach or a scrum master or whatever, which helps them organize themselves, and they have a product owner who helps them then to prioritize what they do. But as you see here, they're all holding hands and they're all on the same level, and no one's the boss of anyone and no one tells the other what to do, because they have to get it done together. This here, I think, is one of the most important things that we've discovered. Culture. Culture is not something that you put on a wall somewhere, you draw a poster and say, we want the culture to be this way. It doesn't work like that. Culture evolves. And what we found out is your attitudes, they dictate how you behave and what you do. And all that together, when you see here two different circles of people coming together, that is then the culture. But what you can do is, you can have a common set of rules and responsibilities and codes of conduct and things that say, or that allow you to check yourself if what you do, if your behavior and your actions are still in line with what we would like to have together as our idea of how we work together. And so we have these things in place as well. And then this one I think is extremely important, and I think I heard it from more than one of the other speakers. It's to hold people accountable. Now, I love the idea of, I'll just call it the fuck-up culture, right? We've all heard that before. Let people fail. Yeah, let them fail. That's fine. But hold people accountable. Don't let everything slide. And don't be afraid to make people responsible, to hold people accountable for what they do. You can't see it here, but this guy's looking in the mirror, and a pig is looking back at him like, So, and that's the thing. Hold up the mirror to people and let them see who's looking back. Now, wow, I don't have very much time, and I would love to do this one here. As a matter of fact, this is a speech that I usually hold for 45 minutes about the people management system we have in place. I'll just say this. You see these three arrows here. What we said was, we're going to do away with the usual arrow that says once a year you have an assessment and you have some type of goal setting which is only catered towards you taking the next step. But we said, let's get rid of that. And everything that you do will flow back to you. So that means your assignments, the feedback that you get from your peers, the learning and sharing that you do. All of this helps you to use these competencies here to become a specialist, to become a superhero, to find your right role, your right purpose. And by the way, we tried the buffer approach as well with the salary calculation. We still have a calculation in place, but it has one extremely important component, and that is what we call peer review. That means there's no boss, there's no manager who sits in a room at the end of the year with 3 other managers and they try to rank everyone. That's old school. What we do is we have the teams actually give each other points. They give each other points on these 5 competencies that you see here, and according to how well you do, how well you've worked with others, how much you've contributed to the whole, that then decides how your salary progresses. It's as simple as that. And if you don't like it, sorry to say, as liberal and fun-loving as we are, if you're not happy with it, you can always go somewhere else. That's okay. So, and finally, and this is one that a lot of people in self-organizing context don't get right, is that they think, okay, but if I do something where I decide, then maybe the team will think I'm putting my foot down too hard, or I'm not giving them enough of a voice. Or if one person decides on, or does the final decision on, hey, I always say, just take a clear stance. And you don't have to tell people what to do, but you can tell them what is expected, and that's perfectly okay. Like I said, we're out there, first of all, to help people shop better and eat better and be healthier. Of course, I have to say that. But in the end, we're also there to make a buck. And if we want to do it professionally, then we have to have someone who says, okay, now you guys have been working and doing all this stuff and being free long enough, we need to go this way. That's absolutely okay. And this is the one that I always bring with me. Like I said before, no one has the answers. None of the speakers here today has the magic formula. Well, maybe you do, but it's in your book somewhere. And it might be in my blog somewhere, so by the way, read my blog. Anyway, so I always say this here, learn, do, share, repeat. It's that simple, right? Take the things that you've learned, the things that work, the things that don't work, put them in an environment where you can understand it, learn from it, and repeat, and repeat, and repeat. And that's basically it. So we haven't figured it all out. We still have a lot to do. We still have a lot to work on. But every time someone asks me do you think this is all okay? The stuff that you're doing? Well, then I look at our website. I look at the fact that 2016 we had the #1 app in the Apple App Store and on the Google Play Store. The #1 app, at least in Germany. Can you imagine that? So we're so professional, and I think that shows in what we do, but it also shows here. It shows in people like this, and I swear to God, when I come to work every day, especially this guy, he looks like this every day. People are so proud and so happy to work for our team, and the things that they do in the end are so incredible and so good that I have to say, maybe we got something right. Maybe. And that's all I have for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think it has been a great wrap-up of the whole day and all the concepts we've heard about. So thank you, and the drawings are really nice. So I already have Sudan as my coach, but now I will have him as my drawing teacher, I think, if he wishes to. So
Gladly.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Наближаваме края на деня. Аз осъзнавам, че превключвам от английски на български обратно. Съжалявам, правя го много несъзнателно. Сега ще затворя на български с последните неща, които бихме искали да създадем заедно до края на деня. Бих искала да помоля дамите, които през целия ден се трудиха да създадат красив запис на всичко, което се случи, да ни разкажат и да ни върнат набързичко през деня. Окей. Предложението е всъщност вие да минете и да се върнете с тези рисунки през деня. Ти искаш ли да разкажеш или?
Ще дам насоки по-скоро. На първо място много благодарим за възможността. За нас е удоволствие наистина да възпроизведем това, което се случва през своя поглед. Аз лично наистина подкрепям това, всеки от вас да мине и всъщност да разгледа това, което с Хриси успяхме да сътворим. Вярвам, че всеки ще намери за себе си моментите, които са му изпъкнали дори в самия процес. Това, което мога да дам като насоки е, че със сигурност ще разпознаете всеки от говорителите. Те имат отличителни белези. Има портрет на всеки един от тях. Съответно, под портрета и около него ще разпознаете и всичко, за което той е говорил и ние сме успели да уловим и всъщност да изобразим. Понеже е изключително много информация, наистина. И това, което ние успяхме да извлечем е възможно най-синтезирано, но дори синтеза е доста наситен. По тази причина смятам, че ще ми отнеме повече от половин час да мина и през двете табла, защото беше изключително интензивен ден и за нас, вярвам, че и за вас. И да, благодаря ви много.
Благодаря, Рози. Добре, тогава всички ще ви поканя, след като приключим официално конференцията, да минете и да си припомните всичко, за което говорихме и всичко, което се случи през деня. Преди това обаче бих искала да ви помоля да си вземете следващите 30 секунди, 1 минута за себе си, да помислите кои са тези неща, които чухте днес и които наистина ви впечатлиха. Кои са тези неща, за които бихте искали да получите повече информация, бихте потърсили повече информация активно? И какво е едно нещо, което бихте пробвали като една мъничка стъпчица към промяна в вашата организация още утре, може би. Помислете индивидуално. Имате sticky notes на масите, имате вашите тефтери. Каня ви да си запишете нещата, които идват при вас. И след това, ако искате, можете да ги споделите с хората, с които сте заедно в групата. Само това, което се чувствате комфортно да споделите. Окей, надявам се, че всички сте успели да запишете поне по едно нещо, може би по няколко, с които ще си тръгнете днес. Преди това бих искала да ви помоля, излизайки от залата, след като минете през графичния запис, на таблата отстрани сме разположили няколко флипчарта, на които много бихме се радвали да съберем вашата обратна връзка за деня. Какво ви хареса, какво смятате, че би могло да се получи още по-добре, идеи как това би могло да стане. На флипчарта с мишената, който виждате там, на онзи стенд, имате възможност също и да ни дадете обратна връзка за различни аспекти от деня, като организация, съдържание, зала, кетеринг, лектори. Колкото по-близо сте до центъра с вашата оценка, може да маркирате просто с маркер, като точка или химикал. Колкото по-близо сте до центъра, това за нас е индикация, че нещата са ви харесали. Моля, излизайки, оставете вашия фидбек, а сега искам да поканя на сцената само за секунда останалите организатори. И всъщност аз спирам да говоря, казвам само едно огромно благодаря на всички, които дойдоха, които говориха, които задаваха въпроси, допълваха въпросите, дискутираха, предизвикваха. Благодаря ви, мисля, че вие създадохте събитието такова, каквото се получи. Благодаря.
Аз Искам да споделя вълнението си от днешния ден и да кажа колко съм щастлива, че бях сред съмишленици, сред хора, които може би много все още от обществото гледа на нас като еднорози, какви са тия хора, за какво говорят, как може въобще да имаме самоорганизация или нещо друго. И може би трябва не просто да се срещаме веднъж годишно, както се получава долу-горе, а да бъдем в една постоянна връзка и ние може би трябва да помислим за това, да продължим да се обменяме и през годината интересни мисли, така че това е идея за някаква платформа обща, чрез която да продължим да се общуваме. Аз също искам много да благодаря на всички и да ви поканя до година отново по същото време да сте тук, защото със сигурност ще продължим с тази инициатива. Също и един лек технически въпрос, преди да излезете напълно, да си оставите баджовете там, където беше регистрацията, за да можем да ги рециклираме, нали, да пестим от пластмаса, за да година да не купуваме нова. Така че на добър път пожелавам на всички и давам думата на Лея.
Аз съм съгласна с всички, което Зори каза и Таня каза. Един съвсем технически въпрос или може би не толкова. Тези от вас, които искат да направят ли се казва, да останат за медитацията, моля, останете, а на всички останали добро връщане у дома.
Забравих да кажа нещо, една инициатива, която абсолютно спонтанно се роди в Вени, Венета Димитрова, която е наш сподвижник също отдавна. Тя помоли няколко човека, всъщност тези, които имате желание, да дадете видеореференция за впечатлението ви от конференцията, така че след като свършим, ще помоля 2, 3, 4, колкото искате всъщност да останат и пред видеокамерата да кажете спонтанно какви са ви чувствата, какво сте харесали, какво бихте искали да продължите да виждате, може би. Защото тези малки видеоклипчета, които ще създадем с впечатленията ви, ще ги използваме за вдъхновяване на бъдещи посетители на нашите конференции, за вдъхновяване на повече хора към тази нова култура, за която говорим. Така че ще ви моля да се включите в тази инициатива. И така, до нови срещи, закривам тази конференция и ви чакаме до година по същото време. Благодаря!
Благодарности на преводачите специални.